House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
We are House to Home, and I say we because my two lovely friends, Gina and Liz from RE/MAX Diamond Realty Guam, are here, and we are talking about ladies surveying today. We've not talked about this topic for some time. I know we haven't talked about it during the pandemic, but what is the state of surveying, Gina?
Jason, it almost sounded like you said ladies surveying.
Okay, are there any female surveyors on island, or
not that I'm aware of? No.
And that's just by chance, right?
I think to become a surveyor, you have to you have to be registered, and there's exact classes, of course, that you take and exams you take. It's not an easy hurdle to get over.
Oh, okay. So that being the case, what is the state, Liz or Gina, like of surveying today? I mean, is there still a future in it? Is it thriving? Is it, are people just not, is it being replaced by technology? I mean, what's the deal?
No, you can't get a robot to go out there and do this type of stuff. And apparently you can't get very many women to go out there and do it either, because there aren't any women in the field. Have there ever been one? No, not that I've been doing this for 30 some years, and I've never known of a female surveyor out there doing, whether it's the surveyor, him or herself, or out there in the field. Never ran into a female that has voluntarily wanting to go out there and do that kind of work.
Well, when we have a female surveyor on Guam, we will have them right here for an exclusive interview on House to Home. That will be fantastic.
There are women, though, behind the scenes doing the calculations, the computer work.
Certainly.
So when they bring in the numbers from the field and the measurements and whatever, whether it be manual or whether they're using technical equipment to do so, there are women in the background who do the calculations, who do the grafting and help in the process of preparing the maps.
Are there enough surveyors to go around, Gina?
No, that's actually, we kind of went off the deep end, but we wanted to talk about surveyors today because, it's become a really big concern. We've actually, in our real estate work, we've gotten to the point where we're delaying closings on transactions, not because the buyer and the seller weren't ready, but because we're waiting for surveys to be completed, whether it's marking the survey points so that we can get out there and say, oh yeah, that's what we sold you. It's right there. Those are the markers. So I've had my last 3 land transactions, I've delayed it by months because we were waiting to be scheduled by the surveyor. And, in those instances, I called around several surveyors, and some of them just said, please don't call me. I'm under the water right now. I can't even give you a quote. I'm not even interested in giving you a quote unless you're willing to wait. One person actually told me 3 to 4 months. Another surveyor said, call me 6 months from now and I'll see if I can give you a quote. So luckily I was able to find somebody, and it took 2 months, and then he was able to fit me into the schedule, and he did the survey points. So we're done now. We're getting ready to close. But the thing is,
evidently, if you're in the survey business is good. Is that right?
The business is good. However, we need more surveyors, because if Gina and I are involved with a particular transaction, the contract normally will state that the purchase is subject to buyer inspecting the boundary points, because Gina and I could go out there and say, okay, this is the property that you're going to buy, or this is the house you're going to buy. But in the contract, it always states subject to the buyer's inspection of boundary points. And that normally in a contract states the seller's responsibility and the seller to pay for the survey. So trying to get a licensed surveyor, because you can't just say, hey, anyone, come and show me the points.
Uncle Pete, can you go put in these points, right?
Sometimes the seller will say,
it doesn't work
I know where the points are, but just bear in mind, it's not certified. So normally they have to prepare a certified map and stamped and sealed by a licensed surveyor stating that we're showing you, and these are the accurate boundary points, so that you know exactly what you're getting in the purchase process. Now, even in the survey, the critical points are sometimes there's encroachment, sometimes there's setbacks. There are many different factors that are involved in inspecting a point. And when you're purchasing, you want to make sure there's no issues, no liabilities associated with your boundary points.
Okay, so now I guess, forgive me, ladies, if I think I have a firm grasp of the problem, but I want to say, from your standpoint, from a standpoint of leadership, you both own and operate your own brokerage, and you're both in positions of leadership with the Guam Association of Realtors. If we do have, in fact, a shortage of surveyors, what are you guys doing as, you know, as hard chargers for the realty industry to make sure that, you know, the well doesn't run too dry?
There's really nothing as an association we can do to recruit for surveyors, because it is a private sector. It is a business that individuals take it upon themselves to be certified. I think in our discussion with Gina, the most critical part is if Jason, you had 2 acres of property and you want to subdivide it, and you finally did get a surveyor, and then that parcel goes to land management, and at land management, their role is to review it, make sure the calculations are correct. And if for some reason there was an error or they did not approve of certain ways that the property was subdivided, they send it back to the surveyor. Surveyor has to correct it, send it back again to land management, and then the territorial surveyor at land management has to approve it. But even that, sometimes that process takes a while. And I know that we've got Paul, Gina was just explaining that Paul is there. And I think eventually if he retires, there's got to be someone certified to take that position, right, Gina?
This is Paul Santos, right, Gina?
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So my understanding is poor Mr. Santos has been trying to retire. And
It sounds eerily like that situation we have with the medical examiner on Guam. Different industry, same situation.
Jason, thank you for pointing that out, because that's another Gov Guam issue, right? Where the territorial pathologist kept saying, hey, I want to retire. Hey, I want to retire. I'm not going to leave you guys high and dry. And he finally just gave up and said,
Dr.
I'm
Aurelio
retired.
Espanola.
Yes. And he ended up retiring and leaving island. We still don't have a Guam, a Guam territorial pathologist. I know they bring in somebody from Saipan, or that's what I've heard, but we don't have somebody on Guam. And here's the thing. If Paul Santos does finally say, okay, guys, I've been giving you notice and nobody has done anything about it, and I just can't wait, or I'm done, or for whatever. I mean, a lot of us are leaving for medical reasons, or our families are relocating. We don't have a choice, right? What if one morning he gets up and he gets on that plane and he doesn't come back? Because he's left island before. When he leaves, we cannot process maps. And my understanding is they've been trying to recruit, but they haven't gotten anybody. Well, is somebody keeping track of this? Because if he retires, we are high and dry. We're not going to be able to get it done.
Let me help you out now, because and I brought that up because we've reported recently that the Attorney General has gotten involved with the recruiting process and said, okay, well now, like, we're trying to get a full-time medical examiner on contract. Granted, that's Gov Guam. Would you guys, or have you considered dialoguing with the AG to say, like, this is a critical position. There's going to be a hell of a lot of business that therefore gets log jammed if we don't have that kind of person, male or female. Would you reach out to him?
Well, my question is, we're in the private sector, and we could just see, based on our line of work, we can see the possible issues that are coming down the pipe. There are actually people in the government sector that get paid to be aware and be in charge of these things. And yeah, we can certainly, that's why we're bringing it up, because we know these issues exist, right? And we're wondering, what is anyone, if anyone, is doing anything about this? But like I said, my opinion is there are people right now in charge who are getting paid to handle these types of problems. And I'm I'm hoping that they are already aware and already actively solving this problem. We're just community because the community needs to know.
Well, we are out of time, but maybe Liz, you literally have like 10 seconds, so I'll give you the final word, but we're going to make some calls here. We're going to see if we can help solve this problem for you. Go ahead.
Well, we do need surveyors. And I actually know a few people are taking different tests to get to that point, but we definitely need someone out there to consider a career in surveying. There's a process to get there, but we do need surveyors. And for those that are out there that have helped us in the past and continue to help us, thank you for your service, because it's definitely needed. And it serves the community.
Well, this issue is obviously far from done, so we're going to stay on top of this for you. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been House to Home. Take care. Make sure you get certified. Surveying, it's a good career choice.